Let's talk about opening things from Adobe Illustrator. After all, Sketch is a vector program, can handle vectors and create vectors, so let's see what it does when handling Adobe Illustrator files. First, over here in Adobe Illustrator, I've got a delicious looking waffles with strawberries and whipped cream, and clearly I didn't get what I wanted for breakfast this morning if I was fantasizing about this. But we've got our artboard and our vector objects, and yes, they're very much vector. You can hit Command Y and see all of that. Well, let's see if we take this object and hit Command C or copy, and then go over here and hit Command V or paste. Over and over and over again, nothing happens. Let's go to Edit, Paste, nothing. Okay, so how do we get an Illustrator file into Sketch? Well, that's where the Insert menu comes in. Think of this like the Place command in Illustrator or Photoshop. We're going to insert, and this is actually going to be considered an image. Then I'll navigate to my folder here. Then I'm going to go and import waffles. You can see here everything is looking good, and I'll hit plus. You can see when we zoom in, a nice crisp vector image. Now you can go ahead and resize this and move it around, but you'll notice that the giant handles from side to side are Illustrator's artboard. That's the bounds of the document. So I'm going to go into Illustrator and just shrink my artboard down. This is what you're going to have to do when you want to export things into Sketch. Let's get those artboards down. If you're going to be putting in a native Illustrator file. I'll hit save. Sketch, insert image, and there's waffles. I can zoom in. Everything looks delicious. If I want to resize it, I can. It still looks good. In fact, I can even fill it, and you can see I can do different colors and all sorts of different things to the vector. So that's pretty neat. But what if I want to get at the shapes that I originally made in Illustrator? Well, I'm going to have to export it from Illustrator as an SVG. That's the type of documents that Sketch likes to deal with. So in Illustrator, I'll go File, Save As. In the format, I'm going to choose SVG. All of this is fine. I'm going to even check off Preserve Illustrator Editing Capabilities if I want this to be the only copy of this file that I keep. I'll close it, and then over in Sketch, I'm going to go to File, Open, not Place. Tell it on my Mac as opposed to iCloud. And then I'm going to select the Waffles SVG and hit Open. Now you can see Sketch is doing its importing. It creates a bunch of shapes, does some magic, and, well, this looks about the same. So what's different? Well, instead of having an image over here, we now have a folder. And the folder has a group, and that's right, it's maintained all the shape layers that Illustrator originally had. So I could go in and keep clicking in and move around pieces of this, even resize them. Or take those and decide to put them in, say, screen mode. Make a slightly whiter whipped cream. Here is a pretty native file. I can copy that and paste it into whatever Sketch document I'm already working in. And you can see these complex shapes take a while to jump on over. But once they're there, you can go ahead, stretch them, resize them, and you can see when I go to drag it out, I'm getting the spinning beach ball of death. Sketch is trying its hardest to process the vector. So you can see how long that took. So the stuff that you do import into Illustrator, you're going to want to keep relatively simple. Once it's placed, it's absolutely editable, but it's a little tough to say, resize, and do some of your more complex editing. And that's okay. I don't think that that's what Sketch is really intended for, as a very intense drawing app. I see Sketch as a wonderful web design tool that gives creative professionals sort of the power that they need when they're going to tackle some of these specialized projects. Coming up next, we're going to talk about style linking. Stay tuned.